Hey, what's going on? It's Adam here, and if you don't know who I am, I want to welcome you to my channel. I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur and have dedicated my life's work to helping people identify the smartest business strategies to grow and scale. And along that path, we have to face ourselves. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is we all want to be able to launch our programs, products, the book, the new brand, but there's this inner game that can hold you back from taking action on the very thing that you want to do. We've all fallen into this perfection trap where you maybe stayed up till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. working on Canva, trying to get that shade of blue right. But you know it's not the shade of blue that's really going to make your launch successful. Or you stayed up really late trying to master the website and tweaking the little fonts and how you want everything. But we know that that's not going to be the key ingredient that makes it successful. And we can stay in this trap, and what you're really waiting on is not the product. You're really waiting to try and find confidence. And so what happens is, in that effort to try and find confidence, we begin to question ourselves. Like, is this thing really going to work? Are people going to buy it? Is this going to be good enough? And so what happens a lot of times, if I were to draw this out, is we all start off in what we call this invisible phase. And the invisible phase is a lot of fun. And the reason it's fun is because you just started that new thing. And so you're very excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I have this idea for this book, or I have an idea for this brand, or for this program I want to launch. And you woke up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep because you're just so excited about it. And you're maybe telling your spouse or a friend or a partner about this idea that you have because you're so excited about it. Or maybe if you're introverted, you're like journaling more on the ideas that you have because you don't want to forget them because you're so inspired. We all have had those ideas that we're so excited about. But then what happens after this invisible phase is we move into this uncertain phase. So we begin to take action on our ideas and we begin to make some progress. And in the back of our minds, you're wondering, oh my gosh, is this really going to work? Like, what if I launch it and it's not successful? What if I announce it and nobody buys it? What if it fails? I don't want to fail in front of people. I don't want to fail publicly. Then if I fail, what will that mean? This idea, if it doesn't come to life, like, what does that mean for all the ideas I have? And then it could get into a place where you're wondering, is this really going to work? So in the uncertain phase, what happens is we really want to be able to stay in motion. So what happens is that uncertainty will often freeze you because it's a lot of pain to be wondering, having the self-doubt, wondering if it's going to work. And so that's where we begin to have procrastination. And we start to delay instead of step into that breakthrough. And so we want to stay in motion. And what happens in this next phase is we stay in motion is we reach this level of chaos. This is where now we've launched it, right? You're now having to generate leads and you're maybe having to make sales depending on what it is that you're doing. You have incoming payments, you have maybe agreements going out, you have billing happening, customer support, you're delivering the product. It's a lot of moving parts. And this is where it's easy to get distracted on all the busyness of the vision instead of continuing to work on it. And so in this phase, you really want to be able to stay focused. And then as we break through the chaos, we move into confidence because we get this thing that we call reference points. And what reference points are is they're the things that remind you through experience that you can do something. And that's where we step into confidence. But here's what happens. Most people launching a vision, they want their confidence before they start. They want confidence first. But confidence, the reality is confidence doesn't show up before you move, it shows up because you move. And so a lot of times people will spend time trying to get this feeling and they want to maintain confidence all of the way through. But in fact, the confidence often comes right here in your first launches and first visions. Then after you have a lot of reference points of things that you accomplish, that's when you can start to have confidence in your next ideas because you've already been through this phase and you've been successful, so your experience speaks louder than the fear. So instead of waiting for the confidence, what we have to do is stay in motion and stay focused, because the confidence doesn't come before you move, it comes as a result after you move. You take a look at Netflix, and Netflix, they didn't start out as the #1 streaming platform. They started out distributing DVDs. That's how they began. They were a DVD rental service, and that's how Netflix started. You take a look at Facebook. If you look at Facebook in the early days, they didn't have the nicest design. They could have spent a lot of years perfecting the graphics of it and the layout of it and all of the bells and whistles, but they really launched it as this bare social media site for college students. And look what happened. And the reason why is because the version you have can help people where they're at. And that's something that you have to remind yourself. I remember there was a product I was so excited to create. It was a program, and I spent 6 months recording this program. It was 6 months of my knowledge. It was a workbook that was created. It was this thick, an entire curriculum. And I launched it after 6 months of planning, because in my mind, I wanted to make it perfect. And when I launched it, it was a complete flop. Literally just made a few sales. But then years later, I ended up launching my mastermind, and I sold it empty. And all I did is I began to train, because the mistake I made is I didn't understand what people actually needed. So when they logged into that product that I had spent 6 months making, it was overwhelming. But the mastermind, we just began to coach together in a group format. I took the recordings and began to populate it, and it was meeting our clients' needs every single time. So that product blew up and generated us millions, right? And it was because I had to remind myself that I can't improve what I don't release. And that's the same thing for you. You can't improve what you don't release. You might be working on that book, right? And you go, oh my gosh, I got to get this book perfect. And you're spending years writing it. You can make other revisions of the book if it's not exactly what you want it to say. That's why many updated versions of a book come out, right? I remember when I was writing my first book, it took me 2 years to write it. And then I started all over and I wrote the whole thing in 3 weeks. And I was kicking myself, scratching myself in the head going, oh my gosh, why did I take so long to write this book? I could have wrote it in 3 weeks. And what happens, I kept forgetting what I wrote about. So I have to go back and reread the very thing that I forgot that I wrote last time. And so it was hard to keep the momentum going. And that's why it's easier to write a book in 3 weeks than it is to write it over 2 to 3 years. So there's this principle that you can improve what you don't release. And the third thing here is that launching is how you learn, right? So if there was 3 thoughts that I would really focus on in practice, it's this version can help someone now. So whatever it is that you're creating, it can help somebody right where they're at right now. What you're releasing can help someone right where we're at. And sometimes we forget that, and we spend a lot of time trying to perfect our ideas. We spend a lot of time working on things that don't move the needle forward, because we forget that the version that you're creating right now could help somebody where they're at right now. The second thing is you can improve what you don't release. You can always enhance the version to try and make it better. And as you do that, you're going to get to learn your clients better, your customers better. You're going to learn what people want. And so it creates room for you to have revisions that are meeting the needs of your community or your clients. You can't do that if you're not launching, right? And then the third thing is launching is how you learn. You're going to be able to gain confidence. As we discussed, you go from this invisible phase to this uncertain phase. You stay in motion, you experience chaos from all the parts of the vision moving, you stay focused, and then you reach confidence. Then any vision you build after that, you'll be able to remember what you accomplished and bring that confidence with you. But if you keep waiting for confidence, confidence doesn't come before the movement, it comes because of movement. And so I want to be able to just give you encouragement to work or pick an action item that you've been delaying on. Maybe it's been a post, maybe it's been a program that you've been waiting to launch, or a product or a book that you've been wanting to write. Pick the action item that you've been wanting to work on, and then just commit to it over the next 24 hours. Commit to staying in motion, working on it, so that you could be able to get the momentum, knowing very well that you don't have to have perfect confidence to begin. You just have to be able to remind yourself that what you're creating can help people right now and that you're going to gain the confidence as you learn. Remember, progress lives in launching, perfection lives in delay. So I want to wrap up here with this Bible verse. It's Ecclesiastes 11:4. It says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." And so what's this saying here is that if we keep looking at this just vision, hoping that one day that it's just going to come and manifest itself, that's not the way it works. We have to be able to plant seeds. We have to put our hands to the field, and then we can expect the harvest. And so that confidence will come as you stay in motion and stay focused on your goals. And so I want to be able to wrap up and just pray for you that overthinking doesn't hinder your breakthrough, and that you'll be able to see your vision come to life for whatever vision that it is that you're working on. So God, I just thank you so much for every single person watching this, whether in their car, whether they're maybe in bed, at the gym, wherever they might be in their home office. I just pray over their vision right now, the vision that you've put in their heart, the story that they're meant to tell, the program or product that they're meant to create. I just pray that whatever fear or thinking that is hindering them, that you're able to allow them to get that focus, that they will be able to give themselves permission and have grace on themselves, and that they can be kind to themselves as they're building, that it doesn't have to be perfect, that your hand will be on whatever they're working on, and that when they launch it, that they'll be able to see the progress, that what they're creating will help people, that they'll be able to continue to move their vision forward until it comes to life the way that you have written it to be, and that your will be done. And so I just pray you empower every single person, that you bring them increase, and that you will help them increase today. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for being with me. If you love this and you want to be able to sit in one of our upcoming workshops, I have a training coming up that's called Take Your Offer from Setup to Sold Out. It's really for people wanting to get to those consistent 10 to 30K months. And so if you're wanting to work on a vision, start a service online, launch a business online, it's going to be a great training to be a part of. I'll put that in the description below. And I hope this bless your day. Don't let overthinking stop your breakthrough. And I hope you increase today.